Speaking for the first time at the Babok Bar, can we please welcome the wonderful Danny Mooney?
Yes. Don't have to tap it and go, is this thing on?
You have to try.
How it works, isn't it? I'm so impressed that we had a maths one first. If I'd have known we had a mathematician, I'm such a maths nerd, physics nerd, but unfortunately, I don't actually have any equations. I heard that Stephen Hawking was told when he did Brief History of Time that every equation he put in the book, the readership would halve. And I thought that you're all going to be asleep by the end of mine anyway, so I haven't put any in. Anyway, right. Today I'm going to talk to you about how you might make a guitar out of a piano, which I'm sure is something you all think about on a daily basis. So Sean, who's, I don't know how to turn the, is that red? Yeah, red spot on Sean, there you go. Sean had this piano. It's a genuine picture of Sean with the piano here. This is Sean playing with the family back in the day. They'd had this piano for many, many years, all loved it, played it all the time, but unfortunately it got old, it would no longer stay in tune, and they had to move as well actually, which was a shame. So we got talking, and we wondered if it was possible that I could do something with this piano to keep the music alive, and I wondered if I could turn it into a brand new acoustic guitar. So let's have a think about what's actually in a guitar. Well, the answer is there's an awful lot of bits in a guitar, and they're all very, very important. But for simplicity, today, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about the soundboard, which is this bit here. I'm going to talk about the back and sides, which fortunately we talk about at the same time. I'm also going to talk about the neck. And I can talk about any bit, but you would be bored. Okay, so in a piano is made of, it's a big thing. I mean, look at even the electric one's quite big, but pianos are a big thing. And they're made of a lot of really good quality wood. And good quality wood from a musical instrument point of view means expensive. So we looked it up on the internet, and apparently the soundboard was made of spruce, which is the best, some people say, the best wood for a soundboard on a guitar, and the body was meant to be made of solid mahogany, which again would make a really good back and sides for the guitar. I continued to, so we then started to think, we had to take it to bits, and there was, God, was it July or something, Charlie? It was so hot, wasn't it? Man, it was like taking it to, I'd never taken a piano to bits before, and it was like doing it in an oven, but we hacked it and we banged it, and actually at one stage Swerve played along on his guitar with some pedally thing going on, and where did we get to at the end? Well, we discovered that the soundboard was spruce, which is brilliant, but the body wasn't mahogany, unfortunately, it was that, whoa! I think we should stop doing that. That's enough taking pianos to bits. Yeah, the body was veneered, was a mahogany veneer over some poplar, and we'll talk about it later, but poplar doesn't work well in guitars. Okay, let's talk about soundboards. Possibly the soundboard is the most important part of a guitar. It's certainly a very, very important part. And what the soundboard is made of makes a huge difference. So we're going to do a little bit of live experimentation now. I can see that some of you have got glasses, so I'd like you to try. I have to do all this one-handed. I thought it'd be like Madonna and have a microphone that I could dance around with. But anyway, those of you with glasses, could you tap on your glass and hear that high-pitched sound? Yeah? Okay. And now, I now want you to tap on your cheeks. Different sound, and then perhaps, I don't have a chair, perhaps you could tap on the cushion of your chair. Now you can see how all of those have a very different sound, and a good part of that is because of the material of the thing that you're hitting. So the soundboard is made of a flat piece, well not quite flat, but a flat piece of wood with braces on the back. And these braces, I'm going to pass this around to you in a minute, but these braces both direct the vibrations of the sound and offer it strength so the whole guitar doesn't fold up. So this soundboard here, this was a very sick guitar, and I basically super glued it back together again just to use it for teaching. But you can still do. So what I'm going to do in a minute is show you how to tap it, and then I'll have to pass it around because I can't hold the microphone and tap. But when I pass it round, if you just suspend it like this, and you can hear that it makes different sounds depending on which bit you tap. And that's part of how it helps spread the sound of the music around the guitar. You can throw it if you want, it's a frisbee as well. I reckon if you took two luthiers down the pub, they would both die on the hill of there being 3 different bracing patterns that were the absolute best. And part of the reason for this is that there hasn't been a final decision made on what is the best guitar. It's not like, people say it's either Stradivari or an Amaretti, is it like? No, it's something like that, isn't it? Amari violin. Yeah, anyway, there's a definite idea of what's the best violin. There is not a definite idea of what's the best guitar, which means every single bit of a guitar can be, and it can be, and is argued about at great length. I decided in the end to go a little bit off-piste, and from my point of view, what that was I did the sound hole, which if you look at the sound board that you're passing around, the sound hole is in the normal place of the guitar in the middle for you to put your hand through. I decided I'd go offset and have it up in, well, this is the bottom corner actually. And I like putting sound holes there on the guitars that I build because I think having this nice long bit here lets the bass side ring out much better. And the other thing, and I'm so bad with names, I've already forgotten what your name is. Yeah, you'll explain later the physics of why sound holes, what matters about a guitar sound hole isn't the area of the circle, but the length of the circumference. I think Pythagoras had a thing to say about it. But anyways, because of that reason, rather than having a single sound hole, just for kicks really, I decided I'd make a series of small sound holes. And if you add up the circumferences of those small sound holes, that would be the equivalent of a normal size sound hole. The piano, at the stage of building, say this one here, you need the soundboard wood is about 3 or 4 millimeters, no, it's 3 millimeters thick. In the piano, the soundboard is 10 millimeters. So I had to pare that down, which you do by hand using it's a flat sheet of metal really, called a cabinet maker's scraper, which you may have seen Will Kirk, is it, on the repair shop, use once or twice. But anyway, basically it's just really hard work, and you always have to do it in the hottest days. I also was able to carve the soundboard of that one a little bit as well. This is a Go bar press. The soundboard of a guitar, or of all stringed instruments really, and you will be able to see it on that one as it comes round, is slightly arched outwards so that it's strong and under tension as the strings press on it. Because the strings vibrate, but the soundboard then has to amplify that vibration so you can hear it. So in order to hold the braces on, you have to push it into a cup, it's not very bowl-shaped, but a bowl-shaped depression, and you hold it on with springs here. And I do use hacksaw blades as those springs. This moves me on to another thing really, which I found quite interesting. And I saw that we've also got a thing about words as well, so it's really amazing how these things just come together. Vocabulary. I'd always imagined that a Go bar press was a bit like saying a Hoover. I thought it was a trade name. But it turns out that actually it's an anglicisation of an old French word, like sort of gauberge or something like that, which means slat, and bed slat, or or a pollock type fish. I don't know why that is, but anyway. So I guess that press that we had here, they're just calling it a slat press, which is interesting. But that leads me on to the idea of the words, because I was taught guitar making by a German lady, Ulrika, and she was taught by her father, who was also German, but he was taught in Spain. And so that means that the vocabulary that I use is a mismatch? It probably is a mismatch, actually, of German words and Spanish words, some of which are mispronounced, misheard, and if it's anything to do with me, all of them are misspelled. So, for example, what have we got? Some good examples. Yes, these bits here on the inside, which hold the soundboard to the sides, I call those klotzen, which I believe means little blocks. This one is a klotz, a big block. But in Spanish, and I'm going to mash this up very badly, they're called something like peone, which means foot soldier or agricultural worker, or sometimes dentone, teeth, but whatever. But the best bit of all is this tiny little bit of wood here, and there's another one there, there's actually a few, but whatever, that I was taught they're called penurcle. And I could not find penurcle on the internet. I asked my German-speaking friends about penurcle, and they had never heard of it. And it turns out that it's Ulrika's father's word for Tim, what is it, an Umiji car spliff? Yes, a thingamy-bob. Although I do have to say, my son Biff, who's sitting here, who's an amazing researcher, amazing at many things, did find a mid-German dialectical word that's a bit like penurcle, which is used in packaging, which means was it a stud with a tag with a stud on it? So it is possible that at some level there is a word that's a bit like penurcle that means a little bit of a sticky bit that does something. But, who knows? I mean, really, who knows? Probably the question that people ask me most often when they hear that I make guitars is, how do you create the bend, this classic figure of 8 shape bend? And the answer is, when you buy the wood from the wood yard, it's supplied in sheets that are about 4 millimeters or so thick, and you scrape it, and you get it down to just under 2 millimeters, and then you dampen it and use a shaped iron, which is called a side bending iron. I mean, that name is easy for me to do. And you have to be jolly careful, because if you move it quicker than it wants to move, it breaks. And that's very annoying, because all of this wood is really dear. And also you spent quite a lot of time at this stage. But the reason it works is because lignin, which is the bit of wood that allows trees actually to stand up, it's the hard bit of wood, that's a thermoplastic, which means that with heat it gets soft, and then as it cools, it gets hard again. So that allows you to very carefully and gently bend the sides around. Now, like all parts of guitar building, there are very many ways that you can bend sides. I use a free bending technique, which I understand is the way that the Spanish masters used to do it. I'm not giving myself airs and graces or anything, but so basically what you do is, I think that's probably, actually this is a picture from college, when I did it at college. That would be Bart bending his side. But anyway, whatever. You bend it a bit, and then you hold it up against the shaper, and then you go, that's not quite right, and then you bend it a bit more, and then it's still not quite right. You just keep going until it matches the outline of your shaper exactly, and then of course you do one for the other side. I believe that in guitar factories they have kind of heated, pressy, rollery, machiney type things that work quite well, and I guess if you're knocking out many hundred a week, you can cope with cracking the odd one or two. But this is the way to do it most accurately, and, well, obviously best, because that's how I do it. The back is also curved. Like, did the soundboard make it across the Did someone frisbee it over? Can you frisbee it over to the other side? Am I going to have to come and take it? Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so the back is also curved a little bit like the... Oh shit, I'm overrunning. It's also curved a little bit like the front, but the bracing system is much simpler. Finally, we've got one of the big problems with guitar building is how on earth do you hold this fragile, funny-shaped object. It's the same when you're mending guitars or when you're building guitars. Most of the time you spend making things to hold it in the right place, and every single guitar seems to need a different one. But when we're closing the box is when you glue the front to the sides and the back all together. It's a really pleasing, simple system where you put a couple of clamps on it, wrap it up with string, dampen the string, and the string shrinks and holds everything very tightly together. So I quite like that because it's so simple. And then finally, the neck, which I did make out of the poplar, out of the body bit of the equivalent of this bit of the piano. I was able to laminate that up. You can see the bits of veneer running up it, and I stained it with an ebony stain so it would go nicely, and finished it off with the brand name of the piano, Braxted, on the top there. And I think we are now going to have, yes, so now's your go, Swerve and Sean. So back in the day, the piano used to play all the time The Snake, that old Northern Soul classic by Al Wilson, and we have caught hold of those vibrations that were left in the soundboard, squished them back together again, given them a really good talking to, and with any luck, anything like luck, they will play again.
By the fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work at night. As soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. Take me in, tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, tender woman, sighed the snake. She clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. And if I hadn't brought you in by now, you might have died. She stroked his pretty skin again, kissed and held him tight. Instead of saying thanks, the snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, tender woman, sighed the snake. You, cried the woman. Now you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm gonna die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew darn well I was a snake before you took me in. Take me in, tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, tender woman, sighed the snake. Well, the moral of this story is, as you will plainly Don't be flattered by his charm or pity his sad state, 'cause he will bite you anyhow, for sure he is a snake. Take me in, tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, tender woman, sighed the snake. Take me in, tender woman, sighed the snake. Thank you.
Well, that was better than my bit. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I don't know if anybody will have time for, and if anyone has any questions.
We do have
that's
time.
your bit.
Can we thank Danny? Thanks, Danny. And Swerve and Charm, thank you so much.